G'day. Just going to give you a bit of my thoughts and review on the Rambler YETI Rambler 30oz travel mug that I've been using for some time. I'm just going to put some water on because I'm dying for a cup of coffee, so put that on. I just reapplied this sticker just for the video. You can register your YETI. Obviously you get a sticker, you've probably seen in the other videos. You can get a sticker to stick on your car or wherever you want to stick it. Whatever you want to do with it. Current, but I've got this old YETI here which I've had for years, but it's just a little bit small. I just keep it in the van all the time as a backup. Also had this Bunnings Marquee cup, which I found was the perfect size because I like to sip on a cup of tea or a cup of coffee for a couple of hours and keep it warm. Anyway, I've had this Bunnings Marquee cup, which is about a third of the price of the YETI cup. If you can see, they're quite close in capacity, which I found this is a really good capacity. The only thing is it's very cheap. It's a third of the price. It doesn't really retain the heat. Like after 2 hours it's sort of lukewarm, which, you know, it can be okay, but I find with the YETI cup after 2 hours it's still hot. And I think the secret is on the quality of the construction, but mainly the thickness of the lid. It's a really thick lid, whereas these cheap cups, they're only thin, and the little slide there is really cheap quality. I'll show you the YETI one in a minute, how good quality that is and how easy it is to clean, take apart. But yeah, what I found with this cup is such a big cup, and when you've got it full, it's a bit of weight there, and sometimes it's just good to have. Well, I use a handle. That's why I want the YETI one mainly, was the handle as well, because this is a bit of, you actually got really big hands. I've got pretty big hands, but it just doesn't, sometimes it's a pain, whereas this I can throw it under my finger, pivot it, I can drop it. This has only got a push on lid, so if it falls over, which it has done in the past, it's gone everywhere. Where with the YETI cup, it's got a quarter turn, so basically I usually just line the handle up where do you want it, put it in, quarter turn, and then you can drink there. Vice versa, if you want to drink it from the other side, quarter turn there, and then I'm spinning it around, ready to go. Yeah, I'm parked on a bit of a slope here today. Everything's sloping down, but that's what you get. There's a lot of fog out the back here too, in the mountains here. But yeah, like any of these travel double insulated mugs, you really want to get the temperature. If you want to put a bit of hot water in it first to pre-warm it up, so it doesn't give it a shock and take the heat out of the initial liquid you're putting in, or vice versa if you're using cold. Put some ice and water in it first, cool it down, and then put your final product that you want to use in there. That way you'll get the best longevity, I've found anyway. Okay, the kettle's boiled, so I'm just going to make a cup of coffee so we can have a bit of a chat about this. I'm just going to pre-warm it a little bit. Bit of a pressure build up there. Ready? Anyway, well, let's make a cup of coffee. Just instant coffee today. No Star Wars fancy coffee on top of the cup today. That's to come. Let's throw a bit of raw brown sugar, a bit of combo in here. Anyway, yeah, I did work out too that if you fill it up, I think it's it's about, I don't know if you can see here, but to the line here, which is where the actual lid sits down into, it's about 850 mils thereabouts.
And that's a fill line there where I fill up to.
I'm not going to get too techie on the specs. The specs are out there, so it's just what I've found. But I'll find this will last me a couple of hours if I'm just going to sip on it. I've filled one of this cheap cup up, which is push on lid. So just as an example, I'm working away here, and I've picked it up. You can see the water's coming out, or the liquid, whatever's in there. I'll just do it again. You can see the lid's lifted, it's letting go, and then it's out. It's more if you're on the ground and you kick it over, but like say off from this distance, like if it's sitting there, like with the other cup, if you know, like it's a little bit there. Let's be honest, there's a little tiny bit coming out, but that's okay. There's a lot of weight there. It's a lot greater height than if you were just to kick it over like that. It's got that quarter turn on it, so it's not going to let go. Also with this earlier cup, this YETI cup here, it just had a push on lid as well, which was fine. And it would, you know, there's a really thick gauge plastic in the thickness of the lid there to let the heat go out. Because like any of these cups, if you don't put a lid on there, they're going to get cold. The hot air's rising, obviously. You lose all that heat, so you need to retain the heat with a good seal. It's basically like a 304 steel. I think it's 1880, which is probably like a, was it 18% chromium, 8% nickel. Yeah, in Australia these are about $60, I think, thereabouts, whatever that is in US. It's $30 or $40 US. But I think it's definitely worth the investment once you've got it, as long as you don't lose it or someone steals it. You'll be fine. I do enjoy using it, especially the handle, and it fits in the cup holder. Actually, I'll show a couple of clips in a couple of cup holders, two different cars here I've got. The only thing is they're quite tall, so if you've got, on my little car, if you're just getting it in, if your cluster tends to overhang a little bit when you're getting in and out, that's just one thing you might have to take in consideration. But this cup here, you know, that was good, but it just wasn't big enough. But some of the outdoor stuff that you buy nowadays can be just way overpriced for something that's just rebranded, you know, in a factory, and these big companies put their names on it and people think that it's really good. Whereas like this YETI brand, like they're very unique in what they do. They make their own products. Like you're not just paying for a name, you're actually paying for a quality product. Like I've only used their cups, I haven't used their eskies or anything, which I'd like to try out in the future. Or even their little lunch bags, I reckon they'd be good to try out, especially for hiking. You can just lift it up, just push on where you actually sip from in here. You can just, and you can see that here lifts up. You can just pull that out. There's a little magnet in there. And this here, the slide, I think you want to, the slide here which releases your liquid from the lid. You need to turn that 90 degrees inside or whatever, and then that'll just drop out. And you can see the actual, I don't know if you can see that, how strong the magnet is. It's quite strong. Just try it here. But just get that. The actual lid itself, I think I measured it, and it was about, I measured it with the verniers. This is about 3.5 to 4 mil thick, the top part of the lid, but all around here is really thick, and there's really thick, but the actual top part is about 3.5 to 4 mil, thereabouts. You know, it's quite thick, and you can see that coarse thread there, the quarter turn thread. But I put this in the dishwasher last night. The other really good thing with these is they actually advertise that you can put it in the dishwasher. That's really, like, who's going to have, many people advertise, or many companies advertise that, you know, it's dishwasher safe, you know, like they try and get out of it somehow. But they clearly, on the YETI little brochure you get, they clearly state safe for dishwasher use. But yeah, you just put it in 90 degrees. You can see there, just turn it. Once it's turned like that, and this can go around. Obviously, if you're OCD, you don't want it like that because the YETI bit's upside down. But it can still go either way. It doesn't really matter. I can do it blindfolded, and it'll still retain itself because of the magnet. But that's a really good feature I found. Really good. Because I put it in the dishwasher last night, and there's all this coffee and tea stains. That's the thing, like, these do get tea stains inside these cups. So if they're going to state that they can put it in the dishwasher, that's pretty good in my view. And also, I'm not sure about the warranty, if anyone's ever had any trouble with warranty, if anyone's had to claim. Just put in the comments if actually you've had any. I want to hear your thoughts on if there is any problems with these products, whether they honour it in an easy manner without having to go through all the drama of trying to make a claim. It'd be good to know if anyone's, you know, because from time to time things do fail or whatever. I'm not sure. Maybe they don't have any problems with the YETI ones. Anyway, I'm going to put this lid on because I don't want my coffee to get cold. Okay, the cons. Whoa! The cons is probably the price. $60 Australian. Some people can't justify that. Occasionally I've found the lid does get stuck a little bit. If you really crank it down, and if you're a bit overzealous with your strength, you can really crank it down, and with the heat expanding, it tends to lock up. But so you don't really have to, you just got to get out of that habit of trying to do it up as tight as you can. And also the other thing too, occasionally, because it's such a big mug, you know, it's nearly, 850, 900 mils, and it weighs about 700 grams. And then if you add your liquid to it, hot or cold, whatever, you know, it's nearly 1.5 kilos full. So when it's 1.5 kilos, and because you've got that nice tapered base to fit in all sorts of cup holders, or standard cup holders, if you're on less than level surface, or it's a little bit whatever, it can be a little bit top heavy. That's the only thing I've found. Anyway, we'll see you on the next one.